Are you boys ready to upset some Wheel of Time fans? Before we go ahead and go through the plot, anyone want to give some initial impressions? I'm going to say, Wes, you go first.
Oh, you don't want that.
You're the most negative. I need the low watch time.
Oh, all right. Yeah, unimpressive. I was like, man, listen, I like Game of Thrones as much as the next guy. But this Lord of the Rings spinoff wasn't really doing it for me. Now, when they come out with the real Witcher, I'll watch it. But this fake Witcher was not as good as the Lord of the Rings spinoff that I was promised.
Well put. Disagree with everything Wes said.
Well put. Complete ass.
Respectfully disagree with Wes. I am excited for where episode 4 takes us. I hope 4 and 5 really get me hooked.
Oh, you're really jumping ahead there, pal.
I mean, we watched 3. I didn't take notes on 4.
Brian's like, season 3 is gonna be the best one I've ever seen. He's like, just wait until season 3. That's when it gets good. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to watch another season and a half of bullshit to wait to season 3 where they're like, this is book 2. There's 12 more seasons of this.
But you completely knocked me off my train of thought. Yeah, so obviously we watched the first 3, but didn't get my notes ready for 2 and 3. Yeah, I was impressed how quickly they got me to care about our 4 heroes, maybe 5. Even though, as we'll talk about, one certain hero has their origin story a little changed from the books. Yeah, I was impressed how quickly they got me to care about everyone. And I feel like I'm caught up to speed. We want to find the dragon. That's about it. Marty.
I thought it was good. I thought it was an entertaining show. I thought that there were, like you mentioned, there are some weird holes that I don't entirely get. But it was definitely pretty good action scenes. And then there's just some parts where you're like, oh, I saw this in Lord of the Rings. I saw this in Game of Thrones. But I mean, I get that that's in the books. Can't really change that.
They all borrow from each other.
My big thing was they explained the Wheel of Time better in the first minute of the show than they did in any trailer.
Yeah, why didn't they include that in the trailer? If you were gonna do that in the first minute of the show, why not have it
in the trailer? So much sense. It made so much sense in the first 5 minutes, and if you just put that in the trailer, I would have been like, oh, okay, that's what the show's about.
It's funny. We started it, and I was like, oh, did it start 30 seconds in? Because it didn't even like pan over a landscape or anything. It's just like, all right, here's the Wheel of Time, go.
Right.
We're not wasting any time.
All right, so I got some plot points. You guys stop me if we want to chat about anything. So we've got
I do.
Aes Sedai, which seem to be a group of only women magic users who are trying.
Sorry, Brian, that's called the Bene Gesserit. We already saw that.
Oh, you're right. I confused it. The Bene Gesserit.
That's not going to go over well.
It's shoot. What are they called in The Witcher? But Yennefer's part of.
Fuck. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, so the Aes Sedai.
Are you talking about like Gandalf the White, right?
Yeah.
So the Aes Sedai need to find the dragon. Who, Marty? Do you have a good grasp on who the dragon is?
Dragon,
not who it is, but what is the
dragon?
dragon?
Just have apparently this big power, and it's like if you go to the
big old power,
the dark will take advantage of the power. If they go to the light takes advantage of the power. But I think the whole thing was they don't. It could be they could have powers that are just mostly used for evil, and they're not sure if the light is going to just harness the power or just mute the power and make sure that he doesn't use it.
So I went to Wikipedia, and there was an original dragon who stood up to the Dark One, and the whole Wheel of Time is kind of like a reincarnation. So
it seems like the Avatar,
a little Avatar-y, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I'm
dragon's
pretty sure you can also
back.
Use ancient words. He's the Dragonborn, right?
That's right, the Dragonborn.
Okay.
He's just dragging people off the side of a mountain.
They just go flying, and they're like, "This
we'll
is
get
bad."
there, Aaron. Hold your horses.
We should kill that guy.
I don't want to get to episode 2 yet.
All right, so the dragon is gonna be, or was reborn, and should be about 20 years old. So we've got some Aes Sedai on horses running down some dude. They tell him the power is only meant for women, and seem to torture him with magic. And we cut to
sexist much?
we cut to Moraine and Lan Mon Dragoran. I'm gonna fuck that up every single time.
Oh baby, yeah. Like it.
Yeah. He's like a dragon, but not so much.
Lan Mon Dragoran. I'm gonna call him Lan.
They're gonna call him something close to a dragon, but not 100% a dragon.
So Moraine and Lan are headed to a little town called Two Rivers, because there are 4 people who were born about 20 years ago that they think one of them is the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
2 Rivers. Just
we
2
meet
rivers.
this young woman who's named Egwene, and she is being inducted into the women's circle. And
Hall of Fame.
So the leaders of their town are called wisdoms. They are like healers and mayors. So Egwene's inducted into the women's circle by the wisdom of Two Rivers, whose name is Nynaeve. Watching through a second time, I knew which names to write down, thankfully.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
How did you feel having to take notes kind of because again, high fantasy being introduced to that shit early on, it's a lot of names, it's a lot of relationships that are generally have pre-established histories, whatever. I feel definitely on a first watch, it's almost always a lot. So did they do a good job kind of pacing things out, do you feel in terms of that information, or do you think it was still a little bit of a lot?
It was a little easier, I think, on my second watch through, but I also have been, doing this for a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
So
compared to other shows, I remember when I first watched The Witcher, I had no idea what was going on, and I think I probably had a better grasp of this show after watching it than I did of The Witcher.
It wasn't hard to
You know
follow,
what? I'll agree with that. Yeah, I'll agree with that. As anti the wheel as I am, it was pretty straightforward. I didn't have any issues. I wasn't I don't know what's
More
going
of a
on.
square wheel guy.
Again, why the hell couldn't they do that in a trailer?
Yep, fair.
So
Stupid.
Nynaeve tells Egwene to trust the river, and she shoves her off a cliff into a river, and she rides it down like a water slide, sort of.
I mean, we definitely were oh, she's gonna get pushed in that river.
Yep, we also.
You better trust the river. And she's I don't know. Just we're just gonna look at it, right?
Trust the what?
Trust
she's
the
airmail,
river.
bitch.
Which one? There's 2
She's
of them.
oh no.
Great water, though. That was such good water
Oh
quality.
yeah, I wanted to drink it. It made me thirsty.
Poland
Like I said, if she just drank all the water, she wouldn't have almost drowned. Just drink all the water. Trust the river.
He's oh, I'm a waterbender avatar.
So we meet 3 men who are roughly age 20. Their names are Rand, Matt, and Perrin. They're at a bar, and Egwene comes in. Everyone gives her a round of applause. I guess they know she was inducted into the women's circle. And the whole pub's happy for her, and they have a little party. We get real drunk.
Pub party. Welcome to the pub party, bitch.
So
Rand's oh no, that means you can't have sex with me.
Are you talking about Anakin?
So Egwene and Rand.
Anakin's
He did look like Anakin. He totally
and he acts like Anakin, bro.
Daryl walks in, and I
He's a little
was like, Daryl, look, it's Hayden Christensen.
I said the same thing, and he's oh, I wish we could be in love, but it's forbidden. Except, I'm so angry about it. I have feelings. I was oh my god, it's Anakin Skywalker. Welcome to the club, Star Wars. Take a page right out of your Star Wars book and slap it in there.
Wes is just
Wheel
trolling
of Wars.
Wheel of Time fans right now.
Say those
I
movies
love
came out a decade after.
Star of Time.
it. So, Egwene was asked by Nynaeve to be a wisdom, and Rand, who clearly has some sort of relationship with Egwene, is upset because that means she can't have any husband or kids. They just fucked, so I don't know why that matters. It didn't say celibacy, but maybe celibacy is implied.
Just like the
I
Jedi.
think I read in a recap that it was celibacy.
Okay. He says no husband, no kids, but it must be celibacy then. Because I guess, they don't have condoms in high fantasy.
You just make him out of sheep intestines from later on in the episode.
That's right. You could do that in Fable. If anyone's ever played
You can make
Fable,
condoms or
Condoms
make
out
sheep
of
intestines.
you can use condoms in Fable. I don't
What
know
would
if
be the purpose? You just in Fable just
you
fucking
get-
around?
Yeah, so you can
Get
have
an
a house
STD.
and children, but if you
Yeah.
and a wife, but if you use a condom, you
My
don't have
wife.
children.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
100% effective.
Wes, just play
On a trip,
Fable.
and
Just
you
play
come back
Fable,
and there's
Wes.
like 16 children in the town and all that you're.
I think they
There's-
limit you to like 2, but still, I don't know. I think
uh,
they
two per-
Just
they
like
take
real
away,
life.
they eat away at your passive income, just like real life.
Just like real life.
Chinese
I wish I had passive income. You know what? Fable sounds like they got it made.
What does that
Use
mean?
We're just gonna start using sheep intestines as condoms. They're 100% effective.
Every time.
Thanks, Fable.
90% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right. So
Okay.
Nynaeve, the town wisdom, we find out hates the Aes Sedai because they turned down the old wisdom, who was the person who adopted her. She has a little argument with Moraine in some sacred pool in the town. I don't know.
That's the
I
pool
feel
that I
like
go
that
swim
will
in.
never be important again, but that's where they were.
Oh no, that's just any sacred pool. She's like, why are you cleaning this pool? She's like, it's a great thing to clean pools. The last friend I had was
remind you of The Witcher. This is the pool
no,
from
don't worry
The
about
Witcher.
that. Totally fine. Yeah, my buddy
Let's pull
walked
that
1,000 miles. My buddy walked 1,000 miles to join your witch group, and she would walk 1,000 more, but you turned her down. And
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
nice guys.
was nicely timed.
Yeah, nailed it. I was like, this one might fall flat, but it most certainly did not.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fell into unison.
So they seem
Classic
to be
unison.
having some sort of celebration having to do with reincarnation. They're lighting these little lanterns on the river and sending them downstream. So during their town celebration, these things called Trollocs attack. They look like these like Minotaur orc type deals. Kind of even boar-like.
Peter looked awesome.
You know what? The main problem was that nobody tossed a coin to their witcher to protect them against these kind of things.
That is the big problem. Why
If
didn't they
the
do
town
that?
had a bard, you know that they'd be safe. Every town needs a
tossing a
bard.
coin.
Wait, Marty, you've only watched one episode, right?
I've seen
What's
all three.
three?
There,
Oh, okay.
There's technically a town. There's a town singer in one of the other towns.
Okay. Spoilers.
I was like, oh
That town
my
didn't-
god!
didn't have a bard.
Oh, Eddie Vedder's awesome.
Eddie Vedder is
Yeah,
great.
when they brought Eddie Vedder in, oh fuck! I was like, this is my favorite. This is now, you know what?
They
I
brought
changed
in
my mind. It's
Daniel
my
Bard
favorite
to
show.
relief.
Oh, top 5 bards.
Eddie Vedder.
Daniel Bard.
Bard College in where is it? Solitude.
Bard Scott.
Jabba Hubbard.
Bard,
Oh,
no.
Gemma Hubbard. Bard,
that's a
Bard
good one.
none. There's Bard none better than that one, Aaron.
Yeah.
Nailed it, boys.
So the Trollocs attack 2 rivers. The dude
Just 2 rivers.
Egwene's dancing with gets like an axe thrown through his chest.
Poor random dude just hanging out. And he gets fucking, he's like, I'm a nerdy kid from this city.
She's like,
dancing
hey
with this
Tom,
chick
how
who
are
just
you?
became
Like, I get the
He's like, oh, you know, just I get to dance with a girl. I'm 17. My dad just said I don't have to work barley this summer, so I could go join the resistance with Luke Skywalker. And oh fuck, just got stabbed through the chest by this crazy thing's axe. Luke Skywalker saved me.
It's like out of nowhere because we know nothing about Wheel of Time, and we're like, we've only seen humans so far, and all of a sudden these like Minotaur things show up and start murdering everyone we thought we had to remember the names of.
I just also
Ryan was
was
erasing a bunch of names in his
No.
notebook. He's just
He's
like, oh
dead,
shit,
dead.
not these guys. Yeah, don't have to remember.
How
these
do they
guys.
sneak in? How do they sneak into the village? Imagine that you own like a village and you're like the town mayor and you're like, no defensive parameters at all. You know, we're just a happy-go-lucky village. Nobody will try to plunder and steal our things. Lookout towers, who needs them? An army? Hell no. We'll just Minotaur dude sneak up on and they're Minotaur dude. I'd be like, oh fuck, what is that thing? We gotta go. Nope, somehow they just stealth their way into camp.
Well, Moiraine mentions at the end of the episode, like, you can't just continue pretending the rest of the world doesn't exist in your tiny mountain town, so maybe they're just closed off.
Fucking facts.
Posting them.
Yeah, she
Like,
really
hey, do you
did.
think we should like develop an army? They're like, no, we'll just get by on good vibes, smiles, and celebrations.
So the whole town's kind of distrustful of Moiraine because she's an Aes Sedai and you know, magic user. She's a witch, but she ends up being the one who like fucks up most of the Trollocs with her magic. Sends some fireballs, throws some rocks and stuff.
Throw a water ball at them.
So the important casualties, Nynaeve, the village wisdom, is dragged off, and Perrin, one of the three men we meet, accidentally murders his own wife. He's, you know, got the bloodlust
ideal.
and he's swinging his axe, and I guess just hits his wife by mistake.
So funny.
And he's pretty fucked up by this.
Honestly,
It's gonna affect his
can
character
imagine.
for the rest of the show. Only it didn't actually
The
happen
only
in the
redeeming
books,
scene.
according to Marty.
yeah.
I was reading the recap, and they're like, "Yeah, he doesn't have a wife in the books. He's a bachelor."
Because he murdered her.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's a plot twist. It's a double agent. It's a triple agent. He doesn't have a
So-
wife because he killed her.
To me, that seems
you-
major.
Absolutely major. And then he does all I think about him in all 3 episodes.
That's
is
going to
he's the
guide
white-
his
he's the white
actions
killer.
and choices for the rest of the narrative in my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's going to be one point where he needs to do something and he's just going to have visions of his dead wife and fuck something up. And he'll be like, bro, get your head in the game. And he's like, I can't. I killed my wife. But in the book, he's like, don't have a wife.
It'd be like
Never killed anybody. I'll take care of this.
it'd be like if Qui-Gon like brought Anakin's mom with him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, Watto, what if I just take
It's like,
both? And Watto's
The
like,
story's a little different
sounds
now,
good.
maybe.
And
I
it's
know
like,
nothing about
Yeah,
Wheel of
just-
Time. I don't know how much
I
it affects
googled
it.
Perrin. I googled Perrin, and the first headline is "The Wheel of Time makes a big and unnecessary change in the opening episode."
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? You know what? Like I said, honestly, it was the only scene in that episode that I was like, wow, that's pretty fucked up.
I
But
agree.
finding out it didn't even happen in the book kind of made it like, kind of lessen the value of it for me because I'm like, oh,
Yeah, Marty ruined the
so
show.
this dude's like, yeah, Marty, thanks, Marty. This dude comes over, he's like, I love my wife. Oh boy, do I love my wife. And she's like, I don't really know how I feel about you. And the audience is like, we don't really get a grasp on their
She's in a
relationship.
bad
Oh, no,
mood.
she's dead.
She was in the
So-
forge all day.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what mood she's in because she gets axed immediately. And I'm like, well, there goes any sort of character development or storyline development. It's just like you need
Well,
a
that was
wife
the
to kill
character
real
development
fast.
for me. I was like, oh man, that's
Well, her
this guy's
sto-
character. He killed his wife.
Oh no, but like her story arc is just like maybe being in love with her husband and getting killed.
Well, she didn't. She
And I was
doesn't
like,
need the
oh.
story arc because she doesn't exist in the
She doesn't
books.
even need to be in it. She doesn't even exist.
I like how you're more concerned about the characters that was killed story arc than Baron's.
Well, we already established that his entire story arc has changed, but like they brought her into it. Like I'm like, oh, she's gonna like leave him or something. He's gonna be devastated. He's gonna do something stupid. And instead, he's like, I'll just murder her real quick. And I was like, I guess that works too.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he didn't think like, oh, I don't hear any heavy Minotaur breathing. Let me look behind. Oh man, it's my wife.
My wife.
All right, enough about Parent's
My
wife.
wife. He said, my wife is dead. High five.
My wife, my girl.
So
Their
they're
brother Balo broke out of his cage. Are you telling me my wife is dead? Yes, sir. It seems your wife is dead. I'm sorry. Very nice. A high five. It's fucking Star Wars. It's fucking Borat. They're just using everything here. Also, I do know that Borat came out a long time after the Wheel of Time books. I'm not an idiot. Just you know.
Wes, they haven't made
like,
it this far. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah.
No, come on.
You gotta include the apology in the beginning. I can edit that.
That's a
in
good
if
point.
you want.
Yeah. We'll preface it with an apology. I'll issue an apologetic statement in a couple days.
Remember, like 5 episodes into Cannonballs when we apologized for not having a SpongeBob reference?
No, do we actually do that?
Oh yeah. It's
I
hilarious.
vaguely remember that you said.
Oh yeah. Were
All
we
right.
supposed to have a SpongeBob reference every episode?
We first 5, I guess we did.
The good old days.
All right, so Moraine, after all the dust settles, reveals that the Trollocs attacked 2 rivers because they know the dragon is there. Moraine knows it's either Rand, Matt, Perrin, or Egwene. And yeah, they're like, hey, we gotta head to the White Tower and hang out with the rest of the Aes Sedai.
Who I don't trust.
West does not trust the Aes Sedai. Let it be known.
Just remember that when they start killing off some of these kids.
So yeah,
Remember, Wes never trusted them.
they're on their great adventure. End of episode.
I'm going on an adventure.
I appreciate kind of the differentiation, like on their end, in terms of Wheel of Time, that they're like, we're not going to immediately say kind of who the savior person is. Like, they're not like, oh, we're going to give you like the Harry Potter right off the bat, or you're going to know like it's going to be Luke Skywalker who's going to be, the person that changed it. Like, they're the fact that they've kind of been like, we're going to change up the formula, not like on a grand scale, but at least in this way that, we're going to make you invest in these characters. So eventually when there is the reveal of who the dragon is, you're not going to be like, all right, fuck these other 3-4 people, now you're going to actually give a shit about them because you've gotten to a certain point of like, understanding and sympathizing with their character, which is nice.
Hate at all. You're right.
Yeah,
they all have a shot at it at this point. Which I agree with that. I think
Marty,
that's actually a redeeming quality of the show.
In your research, did they say why the Aes Sedai know it's one of those 4 and don't know which one it is? Those are 2 separate questions.
It was just that. Well, that was the thing too. I didn't know. How did the Trollocs know the same thing? Because that was my thing. It's like, all right, if the Trollocs think it's know who it is, then just split the 4 up into separate directions.
Wes and I had the same thought.
The Trollocs
one go east, one go west, one go north, one go south. We'll know who the dragon is.
That sounds hilarious.
That was my thing. I didn't see anything in that, and I didn't dive too deep into it because I'll see how long I can keep this kind of a surprise.
So yeah,
I guess
Don't
it's
spoil
Rand,
it for yourself. Yeah.
Part of me thinks that Rand's the heavy favorite for the dragon, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's definitely fair.
I wanted to like look up like just the definition of what the dragon was, but I didn't want to like Google dragon Wheel of Time and just spoil.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'll figure it out.
As long as it's not Perrin. If it's Perrin, I'm putting.
Oh my god! Imagine if it's Perrin. Yeah, they can't rule out
with the show.
They wouldn't. They
wouldn't change his entire story. There's no way it's him.
Be done with the show.
There's no way it's him.
All right, so yeah, I'm excited for this show. I didn't hate it like Wes did.
That was good.
Oh, I never said I hated it. I'm just not impressed yet. Impress me, Wheel of Time. Yeah. Impress me. It's all the same shit. You got the Mouth of Sauron in it. It was like, look at all these Trollocs. You got all the same shit, man. Impress me. You've done an okay job. We watched the first 3 episodes, and I'm still waiting for like, oh, here's something.
Are you excited for the next one, Wes?
I am.
Would you watch it if we weren't talking about it? Is my question to you.
What's that?
Would you watch episode 4 if I canceled Cannonball's podcast tomorrow?
Number 1, you'll never cancel Cannonball's podcast. And yes, I would. I think we made it clear when we watched the original trailers where we were all confused that this is something that we would watch in general. It's just I'm just waiting for it to be like,
That's
oh,
a
fuck,
ringing
this is
endorsement, I
something.
think.
That's a good
That's
point, though.
It's a pretty good endorsement from Wes Isaac.
I didn't even know that there was like nobody said anything about Wheel of Time. Like it was only until I was like, "Oh, that's right, Wheel of Time's on," and then you were like, "Oh, there's 3 episodes," and I was like, "Oh shit, today's Sunday. I need to watch them all."
I wonder if I'd know about Wheel of Time if it were like maybe I'd vaguely know this was coming, but if we weren't doing the podcast, would I have been like the 19th?
I
wouldn't have watched it.
No idea.
I would not have watched this show if you didn't bring it to light because I have heard nothing about Wheel of Time except what we've talked about. Now, talking about it, it might come up like suggested for you, and I look at it, and yeah, maybe if I'm a little on the fence, maybe I throw it on.
Next time you're on Prime Video, suggested for you.
What was that show that came out on Netflix? It kind of had
Witcher.
an old school vibe.
I was gonna say The Witcher.
No, it had to do with like a raven or something. I gotta Google this because it was like one of those shows that I couldn't. It had like a crazy backstory or whatever, and I watched like one episode and I was done.
I'm surprised.
It's too complicated.
I've had a lot of Amazon boxes come in recently. I'm surprised they don't have like tape or something that says "Watch Wheel of Time" or. Like,
They should put something on like in there because I've had a bunch of Amazon boxes come in too.
They have a unique way to market their television shows, and they're not.
Yeah, bro. I'd be like, I just ordered a new pair of shoes, and like, hey, bro, while you're putting shoes on, maybe you should throw on Wheel of Time as well.
While you're tying your shoes, maybe you should watch Wheel of Time.
Oh man, you know what you need? More time to buy more shoes. If you need more time, watch Wheel of Time every Sunday at 10 o'clock.
Hey,
only on Amazon Prime.
String that 25-foot HDMI cord through your wall. Maybe you could watch Wheel of Time.
Oh, it was called
Shadow and
Bone.
Shadow
You didn't
Bone?
watch Shadow and Bone?
No, Shadow and Bone.
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
When you're not using this 3-foot-long dildo, you could watch Wheel of Time.
Jesus.
And I'm like, thanks, Amazon. This is great.
Or while you're using it.